What's going on, everybody? Crazy Dog back with my final Browns preseason game preview video of the year as the Browns wrap up their 2023 preseason on the road in Kansas City, Missouri at Arrowhead Stadium as they face off against the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, this Saturday at 1 p.m. on NFL Network. And you already know I'll be streaming this game, as of course this is the final chance for a lot of the players on the Browns roster to show that they deserve to be on the final 53-man roster. And of course, don't forget, just because you make the initial 53-man roster does not mean you're safe, because you still got to get through waiver claims. And I don't know if the Browns are going to be super active in waiver claims. I mean, in past years, they've been kind of active, but depending on what they need, they could be very active. And of course, for those who don't know how waiver claims work, once the preseason ends, the amount of players you claim in waivers or off waivers is the amount of players that you have to cut off your roster. So let's say the Browns go out and claim 3 players off waivers. Well, then they have to turn around and get rid of 3 players off the 53-man roster to open up space. That's how it works. So we'll see what they do. But of course, before I get into the preview portion of this video, I do have some very good Browns news to talk about as Andrew Berry continues to work his magic with the salary cap. But before I get into that, as always, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, share the videos out. Of course, become a member for exclusive perks and awesome emotes and stuff. For those wondering, why do you keep saying for us to freaking like your videos? Because it helps with the algorithm. Yeah, the algorithm on YouTube can be very mean to us content creators. So liking our videos, sharing them out, liking the streams and everything, it really helps. It truly does. Because it gets your videos out there and it shows YouTube that, hey, people are watching this guy's stuff. Let's go push his content and go push his channel out there for more people to watch. So with that being said, yeah, let's get on with the video. So to start us off, of course, got some very good news to talk about. As yesterday, according to Field Yates on Twitter, and I quote, the Browns have restructured the contract of defensive end Myles Garrett, creating $12.868 million in 2023 cap space per source. Cleveland now has close to $34 million in cap space, easily the most in the NFL. And as you would expect on Twitter, the moment this news came out, Browns fans began immediately jumping to conclusions, thinking that Andrew Berry has a trade in the works, where he's going to sign somebody. Not always the case, because apparently, we're going to be pretty deep in the hole next year in the cap space department. So Andrew Berry's getting to work now trying to remedy that. But it's always nice to see us, working our magic with the cap space. I mean, we could still sign somebody. There's no rule against it. But I don't know. I think it's more or less for next year. Now, Tony Grossi, who is one of the elder statesmen when it comes to the Browns beat writer core, he had this to say in response to Field Yates' tweet, saying, and I quote, something brewing. Yeah, Tony, your coffee. Because the way I see it, I don't know if they're going to make any more moves prior to this game. I think they wait until after the game to make a move or two, most likely via waiver claim. But we'll see what they do. Now, Cameron Justice, who also covers the Browns for one of the news stations in Cleveland, tweeted out a couple things. The first being this, and I quote, over the past few days, the Browns have opened up some salary cap space, restructuring the contracts of guard Joel Bitonio and defensive end Myles Garrett, source confirms. Bitonio's restructure creates around $7.8 million in cap space. Garrett's restructure creates around $12.8 million in cap space. And then to follow that up, Cam Justice also tweeted this, and I quote, the Browns now have around $35 million in 2023 cap space, which they can roll over to next season if they choose. Next season, the team is projected to be around $52 million over the cap. So yeah, they're very deep in the hole next year. These recent moves could help address that. So maybe they do sign somebody, but most likely the moves that they made in regards to the cap space is probably for next year. But who knows with Andrew Berry these days, right? Now, with that being said, let's get into the preview portion. Now, of course, during the preseason, what normally would be my keys to victory, they're just my things to watch for this week's game. And this week, I have 3 things to watch. Number 1, final chance for players on the bubble and in the better ball out category. Of course, if you remember back when I did my position preview videos, I categorized each position group into 3 categories: safe, bubble, and better ball out. Well, this week is the final chance for those players on the bubble and in the better ball out category to show that they deserve to be on this roster, whether it's the 53-man roster itself or the practice squad. Number 2, some starters playing about 25-ish snaps. Now, I say some starters because we're not going to see all the starters. We're probably not going to see Myles Garrett. We're not going to see Nick Chubb, or probably Denzel Ward, maybe a couple others as well. I expect to see a little bit of Deshaun and Elijah, maybe some Amari, DPJ. We're probably going to see Jed Wills and Posick. We're probably not going to see Conklin because he's still coming off that concussion. And Joel Bitonio usually never plays in the preseason. Wyatt Teller, we might see him. I mean, if you're going to have your starting quarterback playing, you got to have at least a few of your starting offensive linemen playing, right? It's just logic. As far as the defense, I expect the majority of the starting defense to play a little bit. Besides, of course, Myles Garrett and probably a few others. And then number 3, the battle for wide receiver 6. Mainly between Watkins, Schwartz, and others. Overall, I think right now the receivers who are safe, of course, are Amari Cooper, DPJ, Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman. I'm even going to say David Bell. What about Marquise Goodwin? He's currently battling blood clots, and I expect him to be placed on the PUP list. Jakeem Grant is more of a return man. We're rarely going to see him on offense, if at all. So really, the final receiver spot is going to be coming down to Schwartz, Darden, Austin Watkins, Mike Harley. I would say Michael Woods, but he's hurt. And Jalen Wayne. So we'll see who takes the final wide receiver spot. I think when it's all said and done, I think Austin Watkins takes it. But we'll see how things go. But yeah, that's it for my what to watch. Now, as far as my player to watch, it's got to be Cade York. Because I'll tell you one thing, he's really starting to piss off this fan base with his play lately. I mean, it's preseason, it happens, but my guy, you gotta get better with making your kicks. Because you're lucky that these games don't matter. Because if you start missing kicks when the games matter, oh my God. Browns fans are going to literally walk into that facility themselves and drag you out by your feet. That's how they are. That's how Browns fans are. I mean, this dude cost us how many games last year? Right? I mean, yeah, he did make that extremely long kick against the Panthers. But after that, like, what the heck, man? We could have beaten the Chargers. We could have beaten the Jets. We could have probably beaten the Ravens that first time. Oh my God, dude. I hope our coaching staff knows what they're doing by not bringing any other competition in and making Cade York our starter pretty much. I hope they know what they're doing. I hope this doesn't backfire, right? I hope Cade York goes out there in the regular season and just makes every single kick. Because I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to tolerate this, right? tell you one thing, if we have a chance to beat the Bengals week 1 and we need a field goal to win, and this dude goes out there and shanks the game winner, oh my God. It's going to be a very ugly week on Browns Twitter. Because not only did you lose to your rival, you lost because of your freaking kicker. Oh, well, guess we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Now, as far as my prediction goes, regular season football is almost here. So, yeah. That's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. And after this game, it gets real. In the words of the legendary Jim Ross, business is about to pick up. And I'm all the way here for it. So with that being said, guys, I'm Crazy Dog, and I hope to see you this Saturday at 1 p.m. And I will be live streaming this game. And we'll see who shows out, right? We'll see who deserves to be on this roster. So with that being said, I'm Crazy Dog. Let's go Browns. And I'm out. Bye-bye.